But it is, what I'm most impressed about is actually how easy it is to use. It's extremely intuitive. I'm very impressed. I saw one of your earlier versions, and
Yes,
this
it's
is
rougher.
completely different. This is it actually, honestly, this is a really good product. So the very short presentation of myself is my name is Lars. I'm based in Copenhagen in Denmark. I run an AI consultancy company called Flow Nordics. We work with companies like Too Good To Go, pretty large companies in Denmark as well, up to about 7,000 people or something like that.
Really cool.
I run a small YouTube channel. I actually run one where I started saying that I want to take everything AI and automation and
Yeah,
take it down to a level that everybody understands. I'm trying to do it without fancy words and so
yeah,
on. And I actually I've started to come to the point where people recognize me in the right settings. And I like it because a lot of people actually write me and say they get motivated. And
yeah.
finally they are not afraid of doing AI stuff because I can explain it in a nice way.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that kind of as a side gig, and I think I run one of the biggest channels in Denmark in that space. Yeah, I think we agreed before we went live here that we are going to use a Danish company called Tiny Mobile Robots.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Perfect.
and the reason why we're using them as an example is because I'm doing a workshop for them actually tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I created a design file for demonstration. So I thought it was like easy to use them as a setup. So I hope they like the things that we're going to
That's
do now. So what I would do is I would, of course, go to my website here. I would copy my URL. I'll go in, I'll put it in like this. I'll drop a design file like that, an MD file here. And for people that don't know how to do an MD file, I would imagine that most people that watch this video would know how to do it. But actually how I do it is I just go to the website, take the URL, go into my favorite AI agent, Codex, Claude, Gemini, whatever, and as I
yeah.
grab this website and create me a design file from best practices. That's
Yes.
basically how I do it.
Okay.
And then I press continue,
Yeah.
add your domain, connects. So that'll be tiny mobile robots dot. Is that a .com? That is a .com. Next. Or skip. I can also skip, right?
Yeah.
Let's just skip it. Control, Brew, where API or MCP. And that's really pretty cool, actually, because you didn't have that the last time we talked.
Yeah. That's new. That's new.
Because
Good feedback. Yeah.
I'm a huge MCP fan.
Yeah. Us too.
And actually, before we went on, I'm just going to disclose everything. Philip, I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
I explained to you how I use my AI agents to build campaigns and so on. But having the option to connect to an MCP, for
Yeah.
me, that's crucial when using a tool. Because I'm
Yes.
doing all the work in my AI agent, right?
Yeah.
So I want to do everything inside that one. So I
Yeah.
really like that. But let's just continue with that one.
Yeah.
That's a really nice feature. And I think that's the future for most people.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have an agent here saying, I've read the design MP guides. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, so it's just scraping the website and the guide now, right?
Yes. Exactly.
I like it. I like how you did this the same way as an AI agent works.
Yeah.
So people get that kind of, let's call it recognizability from if they're used to working inside Claude or inside Codex or anything. So it's the same here.
That's exactly right.
So I would expect this to fill out everything here. Yeah, it's just doing it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So it pulls in the logo. Ah, nice. So it's pulling in all the pictures from the website.
Exactly. And so we talk with a lot of email marketers to understand what is really good email marketing. And it turns out a really good email typically is 60 to 70% code, and then it's 30 to 40% images. And so getting those images to be exactly on brand is very important. And you'll see there in the image style, in addition to the design MD for the emails themselves, we also have an image style MD, which basically describes what the images should look like. And that's based on the images that you were seeing before.
I like this as well, that you can actually go in and customize this. That's it. Okay. Okay, so now we are ready to go.
Yes, go for it.
Let's see, use cases. I'm just going to explore something here.
Yeah.
So use cases surprise me. Welcome, 3 common variants, newsletters from research. I'm just going to do this one.
Yep.
Research the most interesting recent articles and blog posts in my industry, then a symbol, Pulse monthly newsletter, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's try it. While it's brewing, get it?
That's exactly how we like to think of it too.
While it's brewing, actually one use case I used in one of my videos for creating newsletters is, and this is a free takeaway from everybody, which I think is really nice, either as a newsletter or as an input to newsletters, is connecting a plot skill or something similar to your support tool. And then every time you want to do a newsletter, right? Then say to it, go and investigate the 2 or 3 most common use cases that people are asking about, like, or how do I reset my password, whatever it is, right? And then say go write a newsletter article or something about this. And
I love that.
And post it as a blog post and implement it in my newsletter. Because then you'll teach your clients on the most asked like problems or the most common problems in your newsletter. So just do that every month. And I just built a skill on it that I connected to Intercom just for testing purposes. And it worked brilliantly. Like, put a skill, it ran for 5-10 minutes. Then you had a newsletter article that you can implement in your newsletter with everything else. And you had a blog post you can just push on to your blog as well.
Yeah. But that's fantastic, Lars. And it reminds me of what you were saying before with MCP connection, right? Because I think we both live in this future where you will have this command center, which will be Claude, Codex, or whatever, whoever makes the best all-purpose agent, that will have all the context about your business. And the more you work with it, it will also have memory about what your preference is.
Yes.
And then that needs to connect with what we call, or what we believe in as specialist tools that do whatever they do that Grok or Claude, et cetera, can't necessarily do as well, extremely well, and potentially also give you what I would call a visual UI on top, so that you can go, for example, and I'm excited to hear what you think of this email, can go inspect and see how does the email look, how do they perform when you send them out, and so on.
Exactly. And that is why I really love MCPs. Like, you can just stay in your overview and do everything, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go through this one. Yeah, first of all, it seems very true to the whole colors and setup and everything. Let's just do a quick check here. Tiny mobile robots. Yeah, so it's using the same fonts, that's for sure. And you can go in, you can edit. Yeah, nice. You can edit image. Yeah, okay, so it has the alt text as well. That's really nice. And default, and you can add a link if you want to link it to something. Yeah, that's really nice. Read the story. Now, of course, there's no link here because it's just setting it up.
Yeah, there is none at this moment.
Let's see. See the robots in action. Is this one? Is that actually set up to something?
Yes.
Yeah. It's nice.
And actually on the brand settings, you can, if you went in there, you could change the type of icons that you want there. So you go down to links, the third one there. So right now you have the colored one set. You could
monochrome there, yeah.
I actually like the other ones a little bit better, but they will already be set to those sites. And this is typically where we start seeing people then come in and say, okay, they like the first email, but it's probably not 100% there. It's 50% of the way, 70% of the way. But then what you can do is you can work with Brew and you can tell it, hey, update these things, and then update my design MD also. And when you're happy with it, you say, save this email as a golden template. And then it knows, okay, this is what you're looking for going forward. So you do those edits every time. You'd only the first time that you create the email.
And I would say I'm pretty skilled using a AI agent in my everyday life. This would have taken me at least an hour to get to this template because I had to find the pictures. I still had to find them, put them in
Yes.
folders. So let
Yes,
me ask
exactly.
something again, back to the MCP thing. Let's
Yeah.
say that I'm using Brew. I like how it does the template. I'm saying like, okay, I want to work with this. Can I, via the MCP, just pull this into my agent and say, here is, now I want to use it in another flow and then pull everything in?
Yes, exactly. So, and the way we built the system is with that in mind first. So the old school players in our industry, they're trying to take what they already have and then build these things in. We thought about this workflow that you are explaining there and then build it from there. So what you can do is if you go back to that email and if you click, so if you click into it, if you click on the email itself, you will see you see that bar that appears there.
Yeah.
So here you can start doing all the things that you would normally do and think of a tool as MailChimp or HubSpot, etc. You can send out the email, you can test the email, and you can send it straight to the inbox. If you click the three dots there, you can save the HTML. It's something that we have for paid features, but basically all of this gets saved as a HTML, and your MCP will have access to that. So if you're using Claude, etc., it knows where all of this is stored, basically. And
Yeah.
what you were saying before with the groups, I don't know if you've ever used Canvas before, Figma before, but the way that we built Brew, because we have a lot of people who swear by Figma, is there are some similarities in the UI here. So emails get shown on a canvas. So if you created another email, it would get shown next to that. And then you can start grouping your different emails in your different canvases. So maybe you have one for your newsletter, then you have one for your welcome flow. It's a
Okay. Yeah.
really nice visual representation of everything.
So if I understand it correctly, so I
Yeah,
can go in here and then instead of ungrouped, I
yeah,
could have something called onboarding flow, right?
exactly, exactly.
And then,
And
if I understand this correctly, I can go in here and then I can connect, let's say Supabase, for example. We talked
yeah,
about that before we went live. I can
yes,
go in and say like in Supabase, let me just show, I don't have anything secret in my Supabase.
take out.
I can go in here. This is the tool I have in App Store. So this is an app I have out. I have
Yeah,
profiles. But here I can do if somebody signs up. So if a new road is added,
yes,
then onboard this into this onboarding
exactly.
flow, and then
Yeah.
I can set it up.
And the
That is
cool thing,
fucking cool.
this is where it starts to become really powerful because what you do is you treat that payload, so to say, from Supabase, for example,
Yeah.
will contain two things. It will contain the trigger, which means when do you want the email to be triggered? Is it when people sign up? Is it when people submit their email somewhere, etc.? And then what is the data that you get from that trigger? So do you get the first name? Do you get the email, etc.? And maybe what we could do here for a second, Lars, is I could take over the share screen and I could show you how
Mhm.
like what our workspace look like, because I think that's actually the simplest way to, I think you've connected all the dots now. And then I can quickly show just exactly what this looks like when you have the whole thing set up and everything is working as it should. So basically, you'll see if I go into my email section here, we have a lot of different canvases. And so, for example, last month we launched this copy campaign where people can get a Brew coffee. So all our emails are in here. If I go to automations and I go into our welcome flow, this is what happens when someone signs up for Brew. As you'll see, we use Clerk for authorization. So this is where we manage all our user database. And
Yeah.
then the welcome flow that's kicked off here for Brew. You should actually start receiving some of these emails. And of course, you can unsubscribe anytime. But this is the real power of Brew. And this is why we always tell people set up your brand correctly so you can start mass producing emails. Because when someone signs up for your product, you want to ideally first welcome them and tell them, hey, who are you? So I'm Philip, right? I'm the CEO and co-founder. Here's why I started Brew. And here's what you will hear from me over the next few days. And then
Mhm.
from there, go into all the different features, just one by one in a very plain, simple, down to earth language of here's how you create your first email in Brew, for example. Here's how you send your first email in Brew. We made the best copy on the market just for you. So if people have still stuck around, we offer to send them a copy. And then we start going into some of the more, can you say, hardcore features, like what we're looking at here, automations, why an automation is a good thing. And we like to say it helps you never make a sign up go cold again. And so from there, it basically just flows out. And then you can see up here in the wait notes, right now, there's only 1 day between them. So for the first 7 days, we send them an email every day. Then it starts becoming every 2 days. And then from there, it spreads out. And another reason for that is when people sign up for something like Brew, they might be thinking about, I need to create emails next month or on 3 months. And so just staying top of mind for them, but in a way that's respectful and in a way where you don't clutter their inbox, but you actually send them something that looks good and is relevant to them, becomes really important. And then the last thing I'll show here before exiting my share screen is just in our analytics view, we can then see exactly how this is performing, who is receiving what emails, how it's performing over time. And this is, I think, the big difference between if you build something yourself in Codex or Claude, you don't necessarily have the visual UI where you can go in and see exactly how something is performing, or go in and audit the emails and make changes to the emails. That's really, if you're a vibe coder or you're an engineer and you're thinking about sending emails, the benefit of Brew to you at that point is the visual, that get to just being able to see everything a lot easier.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Philip, because I'm very practical in the way that I'm thinking, right? So in one of the flows, in the flow you just showed me, there was one with videos in it.
Yes.
And again,
Yep.
if I combine Brew with the MCP function, could I, for example, say to I use Codex a lot, right?
Yep.
Could I say to Codex, hey, scrape my YouTube channel, because I have a YouTube channel, find the 5 best performing videos and implement these with the thumbnail in this and this email or this template or whatever, and then it will put that in.
Yes, it'll do exactly that. And that's where it becomes really powerful, right? Because one thing that's very specific to emails is this is actually a GIF. Having a GIF in the top of the hero makes your email perform a lot better, because when people, it catches their attention. But there are specifications around, again, you can't have a video because video can't be transferred via email. So if you had your videos, for example, it would be a YouTube link to your YouTube channel, and then it would be the YouTube thumbnail that Brew would insert here. But if you were to say, oh, I want an animation or something, Brew would then know to take what you've done and make an animation out of it. And one thing we could actually try, if you're up for just sharing your screen again, is you can actually go in and remember that first image you had in the first email. You can tell Brew, hey, can you please animate this into a GIF? And the more descriptive you are, the better. But we know that this company have robots that make these lines on the football field. So we could tell it something like, hey, please make it so that it's driving and making the line on the football field. And then Brew will create that GIF. What we do in the back end is we send the image to a video model, create the video, transfer it to a GIF, and then optimize that GIF for email, basically.
So right down here in the chat, right?
Yes, exactly.
Create a GIF on this image. One thing I really like about AI agents in general is they're really good at misspells, because I type so terrible.
Me too, and I don't correct it anymore. I don't correct it anymore because
exactly.
You don't say please. I used to say please all the time. Now I'm a lot more directive.
I swear a lot.
Yeah, if it's not good, I will tell it, hey, please, and then a swear word. And you might have to specify just the top image that you want this done for. Otherwise, Brew will probably ask.
But I think it's this one, because I already clicked it.
No, that's the whole email, actually. It has attached.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can't attach the image. You can just tell it like for the top email or give it that. Yeah. It'll know if you give it the link.
And again, I can just send it to Claude or whatever I'm working with.
You can also just send it to Claude. The important thing is when you work with Brew through Claude, Claude will never touch the HTML. Only Brew will touch the HTML. And that's because if I had to put the secret sauce of Brew and say, what is it? It's really the way that we generate the HTML. We do it so that it's on brand. So as you notice, it uses the correct images, the correct fonts, all those things. And then the second thing is making sure that it renders correctly across different inboxes, Gmail, Apple, you name it. There's a lot of these inboxes. And in this world, the reason that email is actually hard from a HTML coding perspective is because all of those inboxes read the HTML differently. There's no standard that they all agree to. And so we spend a lot of time basically on those two things of like, how do we build a system that whenever it produces HTML code, it's A, on brand based on the design MD and all that, and B, also renders perfectly across different inboxes. And actually, I don't know how much you've tested the emails that you're sending out today, Lars, but what we see is that most of what just comes out of Claude or Codex, etc., it has issues across the different ones. Yeah, now you can see the GIF there has been generated on the left side. And so I think one thing that it missed is it hasn't actually updated the image on the email. And I think it just thought that you just wanted the GIF, but you can tell it, okay, now use this GIF as the top image on the email instead of the one that we have right now. And then it'll insert that. And then when you send out this email, it's going to open with a GIF that's most likely going to result in much better click-through rates. And so this is the interesting thing that we also see with AI is we're always trying to make it better at reasoning and better at understanding. But the more specific you are when you use Brew, the better. So we could tell it again now, like what you just said there, it's actually driving back. Please do this one more time. And the more specific we start getting, the more it'll get this right. But of course, if this company had a video already that we could use, that would be even better because then we would get it one-to-one correct.
Yeah, and it's funny because again, I teach classes, I do workshops in AI, and I'm actually telling everybody to be extremely specific.
Yeah.
And when I do it myself,
the same way.
I'm so patient.
I'm exactly the same way.
Because I already know that what I should have done is like giving it complete directions that this is forward, drive, you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
And, but the point here is that you can do it and you can just insert it, which is really nice. It's like you're saying that it gets more attention from people because you have something moving.
Yes.
On it.
And then the last thing I should say is the way that Brew works is because it's all in one platform, what performs better over time, right? So if Brew starts noticing, okay, the emails that have the GIFs at the top perform better, when you generate something new, unless you're extremely specific on what you want, what Brew will then start defaulting to are the things that tend to perform better for your brand. So it's back to what we just talked about. It's like no one wants to be specific. Everyone just wants to get things done quickly. And then the question is, what should be the guiding principle? The guiding principle for us is what performs the best. And the things that perform the best should be the guiding principle, basically.
But it is, what I'm most impressed about is actually how easy it is to use. It's extremely intuitive.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't have, and this is something I really like, you don't have too much cluttering the menu, the sidebar menu here. It's very easy to use. Then let me ask you, Philip, because again, like I actually see some benefits here that I don't get in my usual setup here.
Yeah.
What is the cost for this?
So if you click on where it says 292 credits there on the side. That's where we have our plans. So we have a generous free tier where you can generate up to around 5 emails, and you can also send emails on that tier. And then our starter plan is on, we're discontinuing the 49 plan soon. And so in the future, it will start at 99. Anyone who signs up in the next few weeks will be grandfathered in. So you can start at those 49. And if you do that, then you get that price forever. And then we go up to 249, and then we have custom for some of our bigger enterprises. And just to give you a little sense of this, so almost everyone in our industry bills based on how many contacts you have in your database. We don't believe in that because at the end of the day, you're going to have so many free users and you shouldn't be paying for those free users. We only charge for the AI credits and the monthly cents. We use best in class. So we use a mix between resend and then a company called Milk. The prices that we have here are exactly the same as you would be able to get with resend or Milk on yourself. We don't upcharge based on that. Yeah, that's the pricing in a nutshell.
I like that you use resend. I use the same as well for everything that we do, also for transactional emails and so on. Yeah. And again, they have a brilliant MCP. It's easy to set up.
It just works.
And like you say, they're extremely reliable. So you have complete documentations.
That's right.
You have a university. Also Loom videos. Yeah, that makes sense.
The nice thing about Loom videos is you can track when people use them or watch them.
Yeah, you should get them on YouTube as well and get the SEO from that one.
We have that. We have it on YouTube.
Okay. Automations, prompt guides. Yeah, I like this is something I think a lot of companies misses. It's of course I get the business part of it. Let's say if a prompt, put a prompt guide, people will prompt more, they use our product more, the stickiness, blah, blah, blah. But I like that when people in their documentations, they actually also add some value to people, because it's so easy to just click this, then this happens, click this, and this happens, right? But if you help people saying if you do this, you'll get better outcome.
And it's also very important actually for the agents. So for Claude, etc., because they will go and they will read this documentation. And we saw this happen before we had this very deep documentation, is the agent would sometimes hallucinate about certain things. But when they have this very specific documentation, both in terms of the functionalities of how does this product work, but also in terms of what's the benefits and why should you be doing this, the hallucination rate is much, much lower because it actually has some factual information that it can rely on. That's also tied to how Brew works. On the template side there, on the left side, basically what we have is a bunch of emails from other companies. So if there's a company where you're like, oh, I really like the way they do emails, we see this happen a lot. You can remix those emails. So if you click on one, it gets added to the chat. And then you can tell it, hey, I want to make this same email, but for my brand base. And then Brew would do that. That's very good for people who are like the creative corner and they're not sure what they want their emails to look like. They want to spend an hour or two being creative. This is a really cool feature. And then the last thing is the settings down there on just above your name. This is where you can add your domain, you can grab your API keys, you can set up your MCP. You can also switch your model up if you want to use something else than what we've set as the default. And then you can track your usage too.
That is really nice. Brew, set up, connecting your agents. And again, if I have to give you some praise here, Philip, like I build stuff for a living, right? And I know that in the world of vibe coding, everything is extremely easy to do, or easier than it was before. And it allows people like me with no coding background to build stuff. I would say that, to be honest, like, even though it is easier to build stuff with vibe coding, I understand how hard this is to build.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much.
Because this is really well thought through. It's really fast. It's intuitive, and it doesn't look AI sloppish, right?
It's something me and my co-founder Thomas spent a lot of time, and we have this as a principle in the company that nothing can look vibe coded. And the reason for that is very simple. Perception is everything nowadays, right? And I actually think some of the vibe coded stuff, it's not that it looks bad, like it actually looks nice, but the moment I see a purple gradient nowadays, I think the person who made this spent 2 minutes on it. You know what I mean? And for me especially emails, which is something that's so critical to your business, I need to know that whoever made this, okay.
This is our website.
No, but this looks way nicer because you have the special grid in the background. This does not look vibe coded. But we need to know that the people behind it spent time on it, right? And they thought about the detail. Because if we didn't think about the details with the UI, did we then think about the details with the deliverability and the rendering of the emails and all the important things?
I have one last question here. So from the email that I just created here, right?
Yeah.
I said, hey, I used one of your templates from the front page here. Could I also say to it, here's my website. Go look at my website. Let me show you one here. Yeah. So this is the app I have in App Store, right?
Yeah.
And if I scroll down here, you'll see there's features here. There's the full feature list here. Could I ask it to scrape my website for features and then create a drip campaign with?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is where, if you do that, you can do that directly in Brew, but I think you will get a better result if you connected it to the MCP and ask Claude to do the scraping and maybe make an MD file of the website and then push that over to Brew and instruct it on how to make that email, basically.
That makes sense.
But there are so many cool things. One way that we use Brew right now, Lars, is we have call notes that you're using Granola, and we take those call notes and then we have a template that's been saved. And then in that template, there's a picture of me and Thomas at a whiteboard. And what the email does is it takes in the call notes and then it creates a customized follow-up email with something written on the whiteboard as if we wrote it. So in this case, it would say, "Hey, Lars, so good to talk to you." And then probably there would be a painting of the stripes and the football field here. And then it specifies what we were talking about. And for someone, for example, if you're someone who has a company that targets enterprise clients and every relationship is extremely important to you, being able to send that kind of account-based marketing, lifecycle marketing just becomes very important and something that you can actually really differentiate yourself on in the market.
Really that. And again, I think it's becoming harder and harder
It is.
to get noticed because everything is getting, again, I have to get rid of I have this bad habit of saying it's becoming easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's just becoming easier, right?
Yeah.
Which is a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I think about it is it's easier than ever to get a decent grade. So like in Denmark, it's easier than ever to get a 7, but it's harder than ever to get a 12 or 13 on the scale. What are those? Is it your emails, for example? Then use Brew. If not, then maybe you can set up something yourself. And then there are other things where it's actually okay to just do something that works and get it done fast. So that's the new world that we live in. But maybe with that, we can end here. It's been really cool to see you use Brew and glad that you had a good experience with it.
Likewise, and thank you for inviting me in. I'm very impressed. I saw one of your earlier versions, and
Yes,
this is completely different. Honestly, this is a really good product.